found out today with a very brief conversation about the Writers Guild of America. Hey, they're on strike. I think it's 75 days so far. They have now been joined by the actors, which is okay, but you want to say, where have you been? The writers have been on strike since May, and they're in negotiation with the Producers Guild, as was the actors were also in negotiation with the same people. And now we have a universal strike, writers and actors, first time since 1960, when Ronald Reagan was the head of the Screen Actors Guild, which is very interesting because back then he was a union man. And then he became president and he broke the union, the Patco Union. Wow. Talk about a change in glee from misery to more misery. But what's interesting about this is the directors and producers, maybe 3-4 weeks ago, miraculously were able to strike a new deal with the Producers Guild. And everything's fine. They're negotiating with themselves, which is pretty funny, right? The directors, producers in the Producers Guild negotiate with the Producers Guild to give them what they want because they're the ones who are in charge of the producing. So it's really interesting how the writers have been asked to, in the next contract, sit in a room together. It's like a mini room. It's mini something. And they all sit together, all the writers, 10 people, let's say, on a proposed television show. And they sit in a room. They come up with 26 ideas for a sitcom, let's say. And each episode, they come up beginning, middle, end 26 times. Talk about we do this and that. They're not necessarily writing the script yet, but if you know how to write a script is all about structure. And then you just kind of fill in the plot points. The hard part is coming up with the idea of what the story should be about, and then once you figure out what it's about, then you have to kind of put it all together. And then, after that happens, in these mini rooms, the way it is today, you have, head writers and they bring in writers and you work on these together and everyone gets paid individually for whatever script they work on. But the producers want everybody to sit in a big room, hash everything out for 26 episodes, and then if the show gets picked up, meaning, hey, we're going to produce these 26 shows that you've come up with, all of those writers in that mini room are not guaranteed any payment whatsoever. They're not guaranteed they will write the script that they came up with. They will not be employed. There's no guarantee of being employed. They're just there to come up with good ideas, and then the producers will decide the who, the why, the what on how these shows get written and produced. Now that's pretty awful. And you can understand how the writers would be very angry about that. But they're also, the producers, doing the same thing to the actors. Fran Drescher, who's finally now standing up and being heard as the president of the Screen Actors Guild, has said what these producers want to do is on a big movie, take all the background people, and those are people who just are like, walking behind the main stars. Scan the background people's face. So they're working for one day only, usually get paid, let's say $100, $500 a day to be an extra on a movie. So they want the extras to come up for one day, scan their face, and then they're paid for one day, but their face, their likeness, gets transformed into AI to be used in perpetuity as an AI character. And the original person gets paid nothing beyond that first day. There's no residuals. There's no extra pay. There's no credit. You are just cattle being led into the slaughter. And unfortunately, there are people who, don't mind that. I want to break in. I want to get in. Used to be when I was coming up as a writer, if a book publisher wanted you to write a book, they paid you up front. And now it's like, well, we'll pay you on publication and we'll see how well your book sells, and then we'll maybe give you a percentage of that. And the old guard says, I'm not doing that. I'm not going to make any money. All the risk is mine, not yours. I'm working for you for free. Which leads authors to self-publish. But you always have young, desperate people looking to break in, and that's what these big companies depend on. The intern who will get coffee for nothing. The up-and-coming writer who will say, hey, you don't have to pay me up front. I'm just desperate to be well-known and famous and to get my name on a real book that I don't publish, so I'll take your really lousy deal of no money up front and no guaranteed money at all, and we'll just see how it goes at the end if I get paid or not. So that's what these big production companies are now counting on with this AI stuff. Okay, all the established actors who were already in Los Angeles, they're not really going to do this. They're on strike. But then you have other people who are coming in, moving from the Midwest. Oh, I want to be on TV. Ooh, you'll scan my face and I'll be in 100 movies and you're going to pay me $1,000? I'll do it. And that's how this happens. This is how unions die. This is how book publishing goes into the tank. People don't care about quality. People are just there to have a good time. People are just there to get experience. People are just there to be a part of it. It's passion taking advantage of. And that's why a lot of people are finally standing up against these free internships where I go and I work for you for 6 months and I get paid nothing. I do all the slovenly work that nobody else wants to do. Get coffee, clean up. You don't have any responsibility, no power, but you're expected to go do that for free. And there are some companies who now will pay people to be an intern, which is the way it should have been from day one. But what's really interesting about this, the writer's strike, the writers are worried about AI and AI writing their scripts, and that is going to happen. You can't tell the producers, no AI. You can't, as the actors union, go to the producers and say, look, no AI. It's not going to happen because they're already using AI. I wrote an article 10 years ago that, all these dead celebrities are going to be making appearances in brand new movies because they're going to be scanned and put in AI. And the next Barbie movie will be starring Marilyn Monroe. And she'll feel just like the 1950s Marilyn Monroe, and you won't know that she's been dead for 50 years because she'll be just as alive on your screen as she was when she was originally acting. So you can't put AI back in the box. You have to figure out how to deal with it, how to work with it. And the producers don't want to work with anybody. They want to work with AI actors and AI writers because they just type in a prompt, they just tell the computer what to do, and the computer spits it all back out. So that is coming. That will happen. I don't think you can negotiate no AI because that's impossible to do. There has to be a different way. And some people say, well, the innovation, the genius of a joke, of a song, of a script is in the human being, and a computer can't replicate that. Right now. Give it a few years. The computers will be even more brilliant and smarter than we are. It's only a matter of time. That's why some people say we need a universal income in America. So people have a basic amount of money they get every month and they can live and survive because the jobs are going to be changing in the next 5, 10, 15 years. You're not going to need human beings to do some jobs. And what is most interesting to me about this whole Writers Guild thing and Screen Actors Guild thing is there are training programs all over the country that train writers and actors. They get a degree, then they want to become a professional, and they move usually to New York or Los Angeles, sometimes Chicago, so they can work as an actor. Now, if there are no new actors needed, what is the need for an actor training program? What is the need for an MFA in writing if the computers can do the work? And they will do the work. And this is the fear that is in people and in universities, because you can extrapolate that beyond acting and beyond script writing. Why do I need a lawyer when I can type in my defense into a computer and have it spit out an AI answer? Why do I need a judge? Why do I need to go to business school when I can just, as a regular old dummy, just type in my business proposal, what I want to do, how much money I have, how many people I want to hire, and let the computer spit back all my answers for me? Why do I need the wisdom of the crowd when the crowd is 100 million minds that have been synthesized by AI into giving me the right answer? So this isn't just about the complete and total decimation of acting and writing at the university level, but also law and business and probably anything else you could name. And how do we deal with it? You're going to have to deal with it somehow, some way. You can't say there's no AI. The Authors Guild has this big thing where they're coming out against AI and all the work has been stolen. And they sent out a little poll kind of thing where do you support AI? Are you against AI? Tell us so we can include you. And I wrote back and said, hey, I'm totally in support of AI. I think there are ways that we can work this out and make it work to everyone's advantage. And they didn't even respond to me. They didn't even acknowledge my email. They just decided that they're completely against AI, anything that threatens the life of the writer, and that's that, and this is that. And that is the wrong way to go. You have to think different. You have to beat the computer at its own game. And it's always the people who control the computer are the people who are in control of you. So you don't want to be the one being controlled. You want to be in the position of knowing what the computer's going to say before the computer decides it. And that is how you're going to have to fight in order to continue to live a human life. That's our show for today. I thank you so much for being here.